I've lived in New York City for over 5 years now. I'm no stranger to the sounds of sirens and car horns blaring at all hours. Nor am I unused to the constant hustle and bustle of people cramming the sidewalks. But lately, once the neon signs dim and the subways grind to a halt for the night, I've felt this lurking unease during my walks home. Like something sinister watches from the shadows when the rest of the world sleeps. The first time I noticed it, I had stayed late at the office working on a project. When I finally headed home, the air held an unnatural stillness, devoid of the usual city noises. Glancing around nervously, I could have sworn I saw movements darting between alleys. But whenever I whipped my head towards the disturbance, only empty blackness stared back. Shaking off my nerves, I continued home, sticking to well-lit streets. Still, I couldn't escape the creepy feeling of invisible eyes tracking me from every patch of darkness I passed. I began walking faster, arms clutched tightly across my chest. Strange shuffling noises echoed from behind trash cans and stairwells as I went. Though nothing ever emerged, I couldn't wait to get somewhere safe. Safely back in my apartment, I tried convincing myself it was just my tired mind playing tricks in the late hour. But over the next few weeks, my unsettled feelings only intensified during my nightly commutes. No matter which route I took or how brightly lit the path, that lurking unseen presence never ceased trailing my footsteps once sunset faded. Friends laughed when I mentioned my stalking suspicions. They blamed an overactive writer's imagination or one too many true crime stories, but I knew this dread came from no figment. Whatever sinister thing crept the city's dark belly after midnight, it was increasing its stalking efforts, growing braver and bolder in the process. Just last night, hurrying along a deserted back road I thought might shake my phantom pursuer, I heard a distinct scraping noise, like claws against concrete. I broke into a panicked run, only for something to forcibly yank my foot backwards. I crashed painfully to the pavement. Certain I was facing a mugger, I screamed and covered my head. But after a minute, nothing more happened. Blood dripping from my scraped knees and elbows, I cautiously unfurled from my protective ball. There was no person standing over me, no attacker to be seen anywhere on the empty passageway. And yet, I clearly felt an iron grip wrench my foot only minutes ago. My heart hammering inside my chest, I gimped slowly back towards better lit roads, this time refusing to take my eyes from the many creeping shadows around me. All my senses seemed heightened, primed for the unseen danger I now knew was haunting me. A prickling on the back of my neck alerted me whenever my hidden pursuer drew near. Somehow I managed to get home without further incident, but later that night, as I laid in bed replaying the attack over and over, I gradually became aware of a new sound drifting through my bedroom window. Outside in the alley, barely louder than a whisper, floated something between a cackle and a hiss. Whatever sinister presence lurked the depths of night had finally discovered my den. Too terrified to sleep, I crawled beneath the covers and prayed for daylight, Never had I longed harder for sunrise than during those harrowing hours spent at the mercy of that otherworldly laugher floating menacingly through my window. When finally the blackness outside eased to gray, I emerged shakily from my blankets, exhausted but unharmed. In the years that followed, I slowly managed to convince myself that the emaciated phantom was gone for good and could never menace me again in my safe suburban bedroom. By 16, I felt comfortable enough to occasionally sleep with one foot poking out or an arm flung over the side once more. That is until the fateful night I crashed at my friend Jay's place after a late night of video games. We passed out side by side on Jay's massive sectional sofa. As usual when room sharing, I cocooned myself thoroughly before dozing off so as not to expose wandering limbs. At least that's what I thought I'd done. In the dark living room, I saw Jay's cat chewing on something sticking over the couch. My ankle! I almost cried from relief and started laughing like crazy. My shouts woke up a very confused Jay. He couldn't believe his calm-picked cat was attacking me. The next evening, Lila insisted on walking me home from work. I tried declining, but she refused to take no for an answer. As we ventured from the glow of street lamps into the gloomier warehouse district nearing my home, Lila pressed one hand over her pendant while linking her other arm firmly through mine. I sensed she was shielding me from unseen things lurking in those shadows. Sure enough, halfway down on a lead side street, we both heard a distinct skittering noise rapidly approaching from behind. Lila spun towards the sound, throwing out the arm with her necklace while yanking me tight against her side. We stood frozen for several heartbeats, Lila muttering fiercely under her breath. The scuttling faded away with the final hiss that raised goosebumps on my skin. Lila nodded sharply, then pulled me onward. We got to my building safely. I asked Lila to come up, but she said she still had to patrol before the night ended. We hugged hard, and I made her promise to call when she got home. As she left into the dark, I saw a dream catcher on her backpack. What other magic did she know that I never knew about? For the next week, Lila walked me home from work each night. Every evening we heard the starting class sounds in the alleys, and Lila would face the unseen creature until finally it gave up. Once it lurked near us for over an hour, but Lila refused to leave until it slunk away. Angry it couldn't defeat her. Thanks to Lila, whatever was stalking me doesn't seem to be following me anymore. Walking alone the last few nights somehow felt easier. The city shadows still hide things, I know that, but I don't feel scared now at sunset, since I know Lila is capable of keeping watch over me in the darkness. And someday I hope to learn magic to watch over her too.